Welcome to the Way to Go podcast. I am Bill McMahon. Along with me is Eric Barfell, talking about Dr. Stalker, who wrote the 7 Deadly Sins. And I love that. I love that name. You know, meet the stalkers. Who's been coming to your
Mr.
church?
and Mrs. Stalker.
Yeah, it's been so long since I've seen the stalkers. I really miss them. But he wrote a great book. It's 1901, and some of the language you can tell because you've read this chapter and I've read this chapter. He called it luxury, but really it's lust. And he said this, is that what he's talking about is all offenses of whatever kind against the 7th commandment, you shall not commit adultery. And that's Exodus 20:14. Young women need to be warned as they go out into the world that their ruin may be attempted by the very men from whom they should receive consideration and protection. And so he's talking about men trying to seduce women and not worrying where the woman should be able to count on that guy to protect her and guard her dignity and her honor and her reputation, and they're not. Yeah. So I think that's a sad thing because I think women should expect us to treat them well and with respect and not just want to do whatever we want to them to fulfill our own desires and really forget about what's best for them.
Yeah, it's super unfortunate when someone's lustful desires, their fleshly desires overtake them and make regrettable decisions.
Right.
Well, hopefully they regret these decisions.
Oh, right? I think they will. I think people regret decisions all the time. When I was in seminary, I talked to guys that were extremely immoral. I mean, they weren't a little bit immoral. I mean, it was like their job in life was to sleep with as many women as they could.
That's sick.
They became Christians. There wasn't one of them that ever said, "I'm glad I did that." They all said the same thing. They wished they had done none of it. They regretted it. So, yeah, I think that in some ways when you're trying to avoid these sexual sins and you're trying to avoid lust, which leads to things you shouldn't be doing, it's protecting yourself in the long run, and you're going to save yourself a lot of regrets and heartache. But in talking about lust, in Matthew 5:28, Jesus said, "I say to you that everyone who looks at a woman with lustful intent has already committed adultery with her in his heart." So they were saying, well, I didn't commit adultery. He said, no, but you're lusting, and lusting is kind of the pathway to potentially committing adultery anyway.
Right. I'm killing you in my head.
Right.
Okay, thanks. You know, that's not good. That's not a good thing. Having those ill thoughts and stuff. Yeah. Right. Oh, geez, that's bad.
Because what murder doesn't start with hate anyway? So it's in it's a hard issue. And a lot of the sins that Jesus Christ said, a lot of our sins that we do, things that we shouldn't be doing, like cheating on your spouse, I would say is one of the big deal. I would say one of the biggest ticket items that you could do. Because sometimes they'll say all sin is just sin. It's all the same. The consequences of me going 68 miles an hour in a 55 is not nearly as severe as me cheating on my wife. You can't even compare. Me overeating one day and then having to run an extra mile another day can't even be compared to me going and sleeping with another woman and how my wife would feel about that. Because my wife is not going to be heartbroken and in tears because I got a speeding ticket.
All sins are the same as far as, it's a sin.
Right.
Right. Your consequences are hell, you know.
Right.
But at the same time, your consequences are weighted very differently. Right. You're going to hurt a lot of people with some consequences than others.
So what I've found when it comes to moral issues and keeping yourself moral, you have to have certain things that you're guarding yourself against.
Absolutely.
Having for me as a guy, I just can't have a super close relationship where, and when I say this, I'm not saying there are certain women, I'm super close to them, consider them, among my greatest friends. It's not that. It's just, I'm not going to be pouring out my heart to them every day. I'm not going to be, they're the ones I'm going to rely to in my problems, and I'm starting to use them as my crutch instead of my wife, and I'm replacing my wife with them. I'm not doing that because once that emotional attachment at that level is formed, then it's easy to go physical. And so that's the kind of stuff that I'm always trying to avoid. It's like, I can't create an emotional bond that's building a bridge to this other person because typically the way I look at the females in the world, you're on one side of the river and I'm on the other side of the river. I can't get to you in a sexual kind of way unless I'm going to build that bridge to you intentionally. Because I'm not an animal that's just going, let's go get drunk and party, and this is not who I am. So as long as I'm not building the bridges and making this connection and constantly reaching out and constantly talking and constantly, I'm not going to have a problem. But that's protection, right? I mean, that's protection.
It does start one text at a time, one phone call, one interaction,
right?
And it builds,
right?
And then you have these thoughts, and they don't even start out bad per se. Just the thought of, I should reach out to this person. Not if you don't have legitimate reason to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm bored. Better reach out. No. Because it's a real slippery slope.
Right. Yeah, it can be. I think case by case, I mean, you got to go by. There's some people that I know, they go to our church, then every once in a while I'll write to them and say, hey, what's up? How you doing? Just to say hi.
Sure.
Nothing to it, because I look at them like, not saying quite like my kid, but I've just been close to them for years.
Right.
And so
it's different when you're the shepherd of the flock too.
Yeah.
You got to keep an eye on the people. And I totally
think you know
see
your own
that,
heart too. I think you know your own heart when somebody's your kid's age. Just like, no, I mean, I'm just not interested.
Sure.
And you know it. There's
Certainly.
other cases that are more problematic, and you also know it. And I think you can't build that bridge. But he says when it comes to lust, the indulgence of such thoughts in secret prepares the way for open yielding to temptation. Such thoughts themselves deeply stain and pollute the soul. The more they are repeated, the more the mind returns to the same subject. And I think when you're talking about lustful thoughts, I mean, obviously pornography should be out, because you can't look at pornography and not lust. I think pornography is an absolute exploitation of women. It's polluting your mind. Mm-hmm. It's causing you to see women as objects, which I think is one of the most dangerous things that we have, is like every woman is sized up for how would she be in bed, as opposed to character, intelligence, so on and so forth. So I think it's problematic from that perspective. Absolutely. You can't keep your mind clean. So that's an issue. If I'm not to lust, then I got to be careful of what in the world I'm looking at.
Yeah, and for all the people who only believe in the science, will look it up. Like, pornography is truly poison, and the effects that it has on the human brain are detrimental.
Right.
Like, it's astounding.
Right.
Just watching like videos and everything. Like, it's so bad.
Right.
So bad. And like, I don't know. Don't go too deep into the study, but no, through and through, it is poison. Yeah. It is poison.
Oh, and the thing is, a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Yeah.
Like, it's huge. I mean, there's stuff all the time. I mean, you're constantly, if you're on Instagram, you're constantly getting requests, like message requests. And you know that it's clickbait, or if you go to it, you can tell. Like, if there's a bunch of people in there.
You see it on YouTube comments too, in the comment. Oh my, it's
sometimes not as much for me there. Usually it's there, but I delete all those comments. I don't look at them.
Right.
And then, of course, all your friend requests, not all of them, but there's plenty of friend requests that comes as
all social media platforms. It's like a leak into it. Usually you can tell, like,
Nanya Wapudi from, and you're looking at it there from Istanbul. It's like, I don't really think I know anyone from Istanbul. So you know that it's not her either. I mean,
this is a
you know, it's probably a bunch of guys sitting around in a room getting pictures off other people, making you think it's them. It's not them. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff where I just don't, I stay away from that, because I think your thoughts is where the true battle is won or lost. And you've got to work towards discipline. Now, I don't know. For guys, I think it's, we're wired to notice women. And one of the things I've argued is, hey, if I go by a beautiful mountainside, I notice it. If I see a waterfall, I notice it. If I see a muscle car coming down the road, I notice it. If I see a beautiful woman, I notice it. I don't know, or notice her. I don't know that we're talking about that, that you can't notice someone's pretty. I've talked to my wife about it. She goes, well, Bill, I notice girls are pretty. I don't think it's a problem if you notice. Say, yeah, they're pretty.
Right.
And so that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about undressing these people with your eyes and doing stuff with them you shouldn't be doing.
Right.
And going through in your head, kind of rehearsing the immorality aspect of it. I'm going to rehearse this in my mind. I'm going to practice it in my mind. Jesus Christ said, you're on your way at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Bill, I think you're pretty good looking.
Yeah. So, hey,
I've noticed.
You know what the thing is? True,
you brush your hair today. I noticed.
Here's what I want you to do. I just want you to be disciplined in your thoughts. That's all I'm asking. But here it says, young man in 2 Timothy 2:22, flee youthful lusts, but pursue righteousness, faith, love, and peace. I think that's a great verse. 1 Peter 2:11, dear friends, I urge you as foreigners and exiles to abstain from sinful desires, which wage war against your soul. And there's one, like, your desires can actually wage war against your soul. That's all kinds. I mean, there could be desires for, just getting rich quick, or you put money so high. We talked about this in the last episode. I mean, you could just have that desire for money so badly that you would do anything. You would cheat, you would lie, you would steal just to get it. You make your whole life about it, to the point you're forgetting even about your friends and doing stuff with them, because everything's about you making money or your business. Well, that's wrong too. And I think in lust, man, these desires wage war against our souls. So what do you think about that from the lust aspect of kind of curbing some of that?
Oh, I think it's huge, because a lot of times there's things we want to do, and there's also things we need to do, we have to do.
Right.
Like in college, people were coming to visit me on a Saturday. It was like, on a Friday night, I'd much rather go out and hang out with my friends than clean this place up.
Right.
What needs to be done is clean this place up. If not, everyone's going to come over tomorrow and be like, you're a slob.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, I am.
Right.
No, so there's things it's like you have to choose to do what is right,
Right.
in this instance. It's going to have, as you were saying, it's going to have big consequences.
I think too, there's when you come to social media, as a guy, like I have 4 accounts that I'm a manager of. So on those accounts, there's all kinds of images that come up because you're following people from all over the world. Now, most of mine would be, it's either going to be nature, it's going to be car related. In other words, old cars and stuff like that. It's going to be abandoned hubs and whatnot.
Sure.
But even within those venues,
Oh, yeah.
there are certain things that go on that you'll notice is like, okay, well, that was kind of inappropriate the way that, so then it's a matter of you making a choice. I'm not going to look at that. I'm just not going to look at it. I'm moving on. I'm going to keep on going.
Yeah. And a lot of it, that's what social media is. It's for their own attention gratification kind of thing. If I don't give a like or give a comment on it, I don't want to give them that attention kind of thing. So
I mean, there's one person I follow, and every once in a while they'll show something that's inappropriate. It's not the worst thing ever. It's not.
Sure.
But still, if they were my friend, I would tell them it was inappropriate. Like, they were a friend of mine, I would be like, you really shouldn't be putting those kind of pictures on there. Most of their pictures aren't, but they're moderators of a hub that I'm kind of participating in and so on and so forth. So, yeah, I don't pitch them out because of that.
Right.
But on the other hand, yeah, it's my choice to say, I'm definitely not going to like it.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to encourage it. I'm definitely not going to lay a comment down there because I'm not going to encourage a young lady to dress in a way that I know men are going to be having bad thoughts.
Yeah, as the Bible says, if it causes you to sin, cut it out.
Right. So there you go.
Unfollow, delete, block.
Right.
There it is. It doesn't.
Well,
no need to like overcomplicate.
Yeah, especially if there's but I'm not going to like it. I'm going to move on because I know that's not all that they're about and whatnot. And so, you have another connection. But
I'm the same way.
It's not, I don't prefer it, obviously. But when you come to those, I think that these are places where there can be real temptation for guys because that's a wide open thing. Sometimes I'll go on, and the way Instagram works, like if you want followers, you follow people, they follow you back. You're trying to connect with people who are doing some of the same stuff you do. And if you're interested in travel, you're interested in hiking, whatever it is. So people will like your posts. You'll go through and you'll see who you haven't followed. So you'll go click, 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 click. Well, one account that I clicked on to see what they were all about, nudity apparently, because that's what all the pictures were. So that's not an account I follow. I just move on. I'm like, I'm not following this account. This is what I'm not interested in. But I think that's where it takes discipline as an individual to say, I'm choosing not to look at this. I'm choosing not to think this way. I'm choosing not to go here in my mind. Like, these are choices that I'm making, and you want to be as successful at that as possible.
Sure.
Let's put it that way.
Sure. And there's things it's like, well, it's not that bad, but it's not exactly good. I had a professor in college, he's like, ask yourself, does it promote holiness?
Right.
Does it promote good thoughts in your mind?
Right.
Because, you can argue all day, it's not that bad.
Right.
I've seen where, it's not actually that bad, though. Okay, great. You're right. But at the same time, what does it do to your thoughts?
Right.
What are you thinking about? Are you still thinking about it hours, days later? You might want to adjust
What I'm going to
accordingly.
argue with is what I would like to suggest would be, you're never going to escape that. Like, you're never going to escape an image that could cause lust. You're going to have to deal with it when you see it. In other words, some of the people that I follow, maybe occasionally they put themselves on a bathing show. I'm not going to unfollow the whole account because of that. I'm just going to say, hey, I'm not here to look at this young lady and gawk at her. Like, that's not why I'm here. I'm following this person because they're really good at doing reels, or they're really good at promoting hiking or travel.
Right.
I'm trying to learn as much as I can from these people. If I see sometimes some stuff, well, okay, I wouldn't want to put a picture of my wife up there. I would not want to make my account about these kind of images. Okay, yeah, I can say that. Then it's up to me to pass, because even if you deleted every one, you're never going to not see it. You're never going to be to a place in social media, driving down a road, looking at a commercial, watching Netflix, where you don't see some raunchy image or something that you really shouldn't be thinking about. And what he suggests in guarding against this, he said wholesome interests and good thoughts are important. He said the more numerous wholesome interests we have, the better, to keep us from brooding on illegitimate themes. The mind depends to a considerable extent on the body. A good state of health kept up by plenty of exercise, fresh air, cold water, which I thought was funny, is an effective foe for foul thoughts. And so here's a guy writing in 1901. So he's writing, let's say 120 years ago. And he's saying, listen, instead of sitting around, and in our world today, I'm telling you, people can sit around in their bedroom all day. A guy could conceivably sit around looking all day at chicks on Instagram or wherever. I mean, because there's no end to it if that's what you choose to do. He's saying, listen, why don't you get out there and start thinking about wholesome things? Mm-hmm. Start getting out of your own little closed-in world where you're having bad thoughts and start focusing on nature around you, or hiking or doing things or exercise. Get out there and get some fresh air. If you're sitting there struggling with your thoughts and you're thinking bad things, break that pattern. Get out there and do something else.
Yeah. What's the verse? Whatever is true, noble, righteous, lovely, admirable.
Right. Philippians 4:8.
Oh, you
yep,
have
that's
it there?
the verse.
Nice.
Yeah, that's it. That's the verse right there. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a good thing. And I think you got to guard what you look at. You can't just sit around and stare at bad things all day long.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing, like, the more you think about things, like, your thoughts will in time become your words. It's like your brain leaks through your mouth.
Right.
Your mouth then leaks, and your words become your actions.
Right.
Your actions become your character, whatever the saying is.
Right.
Over time, it's a slippery slope. So things that are not that bad really start adding up. It's like a snowball. It starts out real small. Yeah, absolutely. But once that thing gets rolling, if you don't stop it,
right,
you're going to be in a world of hurt. And it's like doing a cannonball in a swamp.
Right.
It's real easy to get into. It's going to take some time to get yourself out.
Yeah, that, and you might pick up some leeches along the way too.
Yeah.
You know, if you're in the swamp. I think that there takes a lot. There's a lot of raunchy things. There's a lot of bad stuff in our society. It does take a lot of discipline. I think as just as a human, I remember when I was a soccer coach for the girls' soccer team, that when those girls were stretching, and they didn't really like soccer. I wouldn't say they were modest. You know, they were like normal gym shorts and T-shirts and stuff like that. But when it came time for the girls to stretch, as a coach, as an assistant coach, I'd turn my back. Because I didn't want them to think. I already knew I wasn't going to be looking at them, but I didn't want them to think I was looking at them. Do you know what I'm saying? Because sometimes you can be doing everything you can. You can be looking at a ball on the ground and going to pick it up, and it's near someone's foot. Hey, there to my leg. I just turn my back.
Exactly.
So there could never be anybody say anything, because I had a code, and I still have it. I don't look at teen. I'm not going to notice it. I'm not going to pay attention. I'm not doing it.
It's a good way to be above reproach.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not doing it. So yeah, I have certain code that I've lived by for years and years and years. I have codes that, hey, you know, my friends' wives, heck no, man, you don't think about them. You know what I'm saying? Like in any kind of bad way at all. You don't do it. And it just takes, because that, to me, this is respect, man. This is being a true good man, you know, a guy that can be trustworthy. There's certain things you just don't do. You're not going to do it. So, yeah, I mean, and I think that's where the discipline really comes in. He also suggests you got to guard your conversation. He goes, you know, sit around and talk about this stuff all the time. That's going to be an issue. He said, and silence even of one member, this is a quote by him, of a company will not fail to touch the consciences of the rest, for all are in their hearts ashamed of the beast in themselves, which they are permitting to become visible. And they say when people, you know, even if you're silent, even if you're kind of taking a stand, you hear people talking about a bunch of stuff they shouldn't be talking about. He said that most people, he felt, are, and I love how he worded it again, 120-year-old writing, ashamed of the beast in themselves, which they are permitting to become visible. That beast in ourselves. And if we don't acknowledge that nature, that natural beastly nature that can be untamed. I mean, there's part of us inside that could be untamed and wild and
starts
raunchy.
Leaking out.
You got to guard against that. And he also says, obviously, then you've got to stay moral in what you're doing. You know, you have to say and be committed in your heart, I'm going to be a moral person. I'm not going to lust at these women. I'm going to be faithful. You're a married guy. I'm a married guy. From our perspective, we're going to be 100% faithful to our spouses and not do anything at all that's going to be a distraction from that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Right. So there's defensive ways of doing it, guarding your thoughts, your words, your actions, having an accountability partner, having someone to discuss good things with.
Right.
Don't be necessarily just cutting it up and foul jokes, just locker room kind of talk. And because all these things, they start to stick. And if you're dwelling on them, it's a slippery
one thing
slope.
I like about the 7 deadly sins, and then it's the 7 cardinal virtues he wrote. A lot of these things are in the way that you think, like pride, I mean, can be an issue, which we've already covered that in a podcast. We've covered greed in a podcast. Now we're covering lust in a podcast. And what it's really pointing out is that a lot of the things in our own human nature, can tend to wander into paths where they shouldn't be. It can tend to get where you don't want to be. And so from that perspective, just recognizing your own innate issues, you got to deal with it. You can't allow these monsters inside your brain to run around unchecked, because they're going to find a way to unlock a door and get out and cause you problems in another area. So lust is a deadly sin, definitely one to be avoided. And the next podcast we do, we're actually going to be talking about comments that are made by C.S. Lewis in Mere Christianity, where he wrote about morality. And I think that would be an important one too. So you guys can tune in to the next podcast. Thanks for listening. We appreciate it. Feel free to share it, and have a great day.